partied with them. I've never been to their house. I don't swim in their pool. Like, we're not friends. I'm a pop culture pundit and commentator, right? That's what you call it. Pop culture woman. And I talk about people.
Kevin Hunter is stirring up major controversy with a shocking claim, alleging that Beyoncé and Jay-Z quietly shut down Wendy Williams behind the scenes. According to Kevin, the power couple supposedly flexed their immense influence in the entertainment industry to silence Wendy after years of her unapologetic commentary on her Hot Topics segment, especially following the drama surrounding the infamous fake baby bump rumors. Now, let's be real. Fans already know Wendy never held back when it came to the Carters. She didn't just throw subtle shade. She made her stance crystal clear time and time again, openly calling them out and never pretending to be on their side. Now here's where things start to feel a little off. Why is Kevin Hunter suddenly the one speaking out about Beyoncé and Jay-Z allegedly silencing Wendy Williams? This is the same Kevin who's currently tangled in a massive $250 million federal lawsuit against Wendy's estate and her guardians, all after his alimony payments were cut off when her show came to an end. A financial hit that reportedly pushed him to the brink of losing everything. So the big question is he finally revealing what really went on behind the curtain in the industry? Or is this just a carefully crafted narrative to keep his name buzzing and his pockets lined, while Wendy is facing one of the most fragile periods of her life? And the timing? It's raising eyebrows, especially since this is all surfacing while Wendy is grieving the loss of her father. Something about it just doesn't sit right. Lately, as Wendy battles guardianship complications and serious health challenges like frontotemporal dementia, Kevin has grown increasingly outspoken, painting a picture of a hostile industry filled with powerful figures Wendy may have crossed. He's even positioning himself as the one who stood between her and the backlash from influential celebrities she openly criticized. And let's not forget, Beyoncé was a frequent target on Wendy's show. There were several moments that stirred controversy, including Wendy repeatedly mocking Beyoncé's speaking voice and going as far as to claim she sounded undereducated, suggesting she needed captions to be understood. In another instance, Wendy shared her opinion that Beyoncé wasn't the right fit for a Disney role, implying that someone like Alicia Keys was a better choice. She even controversially added that Beyoncé would need speech training to refine what she described as an ebonic tone before taking on such a role, comments that, at the time, sparked plenty of backlash and conversation. And it didn't stop there. Wendy Williams also kept the conversation alive around claims that Beyoncé may have borrowed heavily from other creatives on her rise to the top. One moment that really stirred the pot was when a filmmaker filed a lawsuit accusing Beyoncé of lifting concepts from his short film for the trailer of her Lemonade project. Wendy wasted no time diving into the drama on her show, breaking down what she called receipts and pointing out striking visual similarities, everything from graffiti-covered walls to garage scenes in grassy settings. As she walked viewers through the comparisons, Wendy emphasized that this wasn't the first time Beyoncé had faced accusations like this, reinforcing a narrative that had already been circulating and keeping the controversy front and center. Let's be honest, when Wendy Williams kept raising eyebrows about Beyoncé, she wasn't exactly pulling stories out of nowhere. Over the years, Beyoncé has faced repeated claims from different artists accusing her of borrowing more than just inspiration. One of the most talked about incidents involved British singer Des'ree, whose song Kissing You was reworked by Beyoncé for her birthday album under a new title, Still in Love, Kissing You. The twist? Reports suggested that no final agreement had been secured before Beyoncé re-recorded the track, released it, and even attached her own writing credits. When Des'ree caught wind of it, she took the matter straight to court, demanding damages and pushing to have the song pulled from circulation. Then there's the long-running debate that Beyoncé's breakout sound may have closely mirrored that of Amory. Critics didn't just point at the music, they highlighted visual parallels too, comparing Crazy in Love to Amory's earlier work and questioning whether Beyoncé's team pivoted after an initial creative direction failed to connect. And the list doesn't end there. Back in 2003, artist Jennifer Armour claimed she had submitted a demo to Columbia Records, only to later hear Beyoncé's Baby Boy and feel an uncanny resemblance. She even pursued legal action, but the case ultimately fell apart when she couldn't prove Beyoncé had ever heard her original recording. So in Wendy's eyes, she wasn't inventing controversy. She was spotlighting patterns that others had already questioned. But the moment that truly sent shockwaves through pop culture was the explosive baby bump saga. Wendy didn't hold back, openly speculating that Beyoncé's pregnancy might not have been what it seemed, floating theories about surrogacy or adoption while suggesting the narrative could be strategically crafted. She even went as far as predicting how the birth story would unfold and staged her own on-air experiment with her team to test the theory, making it clear she had serious doubts. What made it even more intense was that Wendy claimed she took the brunt of the backlash, despite the rumors being everywhere at the time. And if you dive into her show's history, one thing becomes crystal clear: nothing about Beyoncé and Jay-Z was ever off limits. Wendy dissected everything, from the deeper meaning behind Lemonade and Jay-Z's alleged infidelity, to the infamous Becky with the good hair speculation often linked to Rachel Roy. She also tackled Beyoncé's industry relationships, including rumored tension with Rihanna, her impact on Carrie Hilson, and even Kelly Rowland opening up about past envy in her track Dirty Laundry. Wendy didn't stop at music either. She dug into family dynamics, questioning Beyoncé's stance on her mother Tina Knowles being with Richard Lawson, partly due to rumored ties to Scientology. In the end, Wendy's coverage wasn't just commentary, it was relentless, unfiltered, and often controversial. And when it came to the Carters, she made sure every rumor, every allegation, and every headline stayed front and center, no matter how uncomfortable it got. It goes even deeper. Wendy Williams didn't just question Beyoncé's career moves, she even cast doubt on her personal life, suggesting that Beyoncé's cozy Instagram moments with Jay-Z might be carefully orchestrated by PR teams rather than genuine snapshots. She also dug into one of the most controversial stories surrounding Jay-Z, the long-running claims by rhymer Satterthwaite, who has been trying to get a paternity test through legal channels. Rumor has it that behind the scenes, legal forces tied to Roc Nation may have pushed back hard, even issuing cease and desist warnings, especially when Wendy started amplifying the story on her platform. When you stack up everything Wendy has said about the Carters over the years, it's almost endless. Hours and hours of unfiltered commentary, speculation, and headline-making takes. So yes, it's not hard to imagine why powerful figures might want to shut that down. But here's the twist that has people raising eyebrows. Why is Kevin Hunter suddenly stepping forward as the so-called truth-teller now? The timing feels convenient. These explosive claims about Beyoncé allegedly silencing Wendy only started surfacing after Kevin's financial situation took a hit. His alimony check stopped, and his massive $250 million lawsuit, which reports say he filed without Wendy's approval, was ultimately dismissed. If he truly believed Wendy was being targeted all along, why wait until he was reportedly facing foreclosure and financial strain to speak out? In fact, Kevin didn't just stop there. He went as far as filing legal motions asking the court to undo his prior settlement with Wendy, alleging fraud, misconduct, and misrepresentation. In simple terms, he was still fighting for access to her money. He even leaned on statements from Wendy's close friend Regina, who claimed she had seen Wendy's bank details and knew she was considering switching financial institutions, including a meeting with Bank of America in late 2022. And this wasn't a one-time thing. Kevin had already dragged Wendy back into court multiple times, even challenging whether her guardian had the legal authority to represent her. At one point, he went as far as insisting Wendy should personally appear in court and speak for herself. But here's where things take an even darker turn. There have also been whispers suggesting that Kevin himself may have played a role in controlling Wendy behind the scenes. One particularly disturbing narrative claims that during the final years of her show, there was an alleged effort to keep Wendy in a subdued, medicated state so she could continue working. According to these claims, as Wendy was planning her return to radio following their divorce, word got back to Kevin, and instead of supporting her, a supposed plan was put in motion with members of the production team to keep her dependent and compliant. The most shocking part, some allege that this was done through something as routine as the tea she drank daily on air. The idea, as the story goes, was to keep her functional enough to perform, but not strong enough to break free until she was no longer useful. And now, suddenly, Kevin is presenting himself as her protector? That shift in narrative hasn't gone unnoticed, and not even Wendy herself seems convinced. During a heated call-in to TMZ Live in late 2025, she didn't mince words, openly calling Kevin out as someone who has always been after her money, making it clear she sees through his intentions. At the end of the day, while some might believe there's a possibility that powerful industry figures like the Carters could influence narratives behind the scenes, Kevin's sudden whistleblower role raises just as many questions as it answers. Is this a genuine attempt to expose hidden truths, or just another calculated move to regain financial footing and public relevance? Either way, the story is far from over, and the real motives still up for debate.